Wait, seriously? Like, I thought we were done with this franchise a couple years ago. You mean to tell me that the studio wants to get a cash grab out of another one? F it, why not? Let's talk about Jurassic World Rebirth. This was directed by Gareth Edwards, the guy who brought you Godzilla, Rogue One, a couple of really successful blockbuster-style films. And yeah, to say I was skeptical walking into this theater tonight, that's an understatement. It's definitely an understatement. And this movie stars Scarlett Johansson playing Scarlett Johansson. And if you think I'm kidding, the character of Zora Bennett is basically the archetype of what Scarlett Johansson is to a lot of people. She's leading a team of skilled operatives to the most dangerous place on Earth, an island research facility for the original Jurassic Park from 32 years ago. Their mission is to secure genetic material, i.e. blood, from these dinosaurs whose DNA can provide life-saving benefits to mankind. As the top-secret expedition becomes more and more risky, you guess it, they soon make a sinister, shocking discovery that's been hidden from the world for decades. And being a Jurassic movie, goes down, people are gobbled up, dinosaurs are just running roughshod over our heroes, and you just want to see them make it out. Where have you heard this one before? But believe it or not, despite everything I've just said, as skeptical as I was, and as derivative of an idea as this feels like, Jurassic World Rebirth was extremely entertaining. And my girlfriend, my lovely girlfriend who I share a second channel with now, she was with me when she watched this tonight, and she had never seen any Jurassic movie. She was into it the entire time. And I think that has to do with what Gareth Edwards is doing as a director here. All due respect to Spielberg, who is the greatest of all time, but this might be the best directed Jurassic movie since that original came out. And a lot of it has to do with what I consider to be Gareth Edwards' greatest strength as a director. He engulfs you with atmosphere. And how he does that is he takes a lot of human characters and he gives you a lot of cinematography from their point of view, and you just see how massive these creatures are. There was one specific scene where it looked like one character was up against the trunk of a tree. It's actually just the bottom of the leg of this gigantic dinosaur that this person is in awe of. Like, those kind of POV comparisons to make dinosaurs appear as majestic or as dangerous as they are, I think that's this movie's greatest strength. And my God, some of the reveals of these dinosaurs when you actually do get to see them, and some of the editing sequences and some of the magic that comes around these dinosaurs, a lot of it feels like a horror movie. And it actually makes me kind of curious to see what Gareth Edwards could do if he ever decides to step foot into that genre. Because it's like, holy cow, these people got very, very creative with how these dinosaurs were presented as threats. And you get a multitude of different creatures here, and the CG is top-notch. No notes for this technical department. These dinosaurs look great. As a big screen blockbuster turn-your-brain-off experience, Jurassic World Rebirth is definitely an entertaining ticket. It is one of those big, gigantic, shove popcorn and candy in your face movies, and you'll probably leave this movie happy if you're not really thinking too much about it. And I appreciate that Rebirth is a legacy sequel that feels like it can stand on its own. It doesn't necessarily have to rely on the nostalgia of the original. A lot like the first Jurassic World movie when that came out, that was leaning very heavily into the nostalgia stuff. It's also crazy to think, side note, that this movie came out 10 years after that first Jurassic World movie did. I remember seeing that in theaters. And it's also weird to think that there are now more Jurassic World movies than Jurassic Park movies. Oh my gosh. But in the performance department, I mentioned Scarlett Johansson, who is the starring vehicle of this film. And she's really good at what she does. She's great in the action sequences. She's a badass, as you'd come to expect from her, especially with her foray into Marvel. And now that her Marvel stint appears to be over, she gets to go into other blockbuster franchises now and kind of show the rest of the dorky fan bases, each one, what she's made of. And yeah, she's really, really great in this film, as is Mahershala Ali, who plays her friend Duncan. He's not as interesting of a character as I would have liked him to be, and that's another thing about this movie that I'll get into. The human characters are not nearly on the level of the original Jurassic Park movie. There's not really a whole lot of layers, not a whole lot of relationships that you can dig into. There are, don't get me wrong, but they are not nearly as interesting as Dr. Grant, Ellie, Ian, Malcolm, for crying out loud. I mean, you know, these people are there, they're on an adventure. Not really a whole lot much else to them. Scarlett Johansson's a badass. Mahershala Ali's a likable presence. I will say, though, Jonathan Bailey, you might remember him as Fiyero from Wicked. This other guy from Bridgerton. Yeah, I'll admit, I don't watch that show. And I know a lot of people in the comments are going to tell me, watch f***ing Bridgerton. And I know there's going to come a day where Lindsay's going to sit me down and make me watch all of Bridgerton. And I don't know if I'm dreading it or not. But apparently Jonathan Bailey is very good and very handsome in that series as well. For my money, though, Jonathan Bailey, I think, was the best performer overall in this movie and the most interesting character. He plays kind of a cowardly paleontologist who actually, it turns out, is a former student of Dr. Alan Grant, played by Sam Neill in the original. And that's about the closest link that you can actually get to say that this is a Jurassic movie. Aside from a couple of Easter eggs that you get at the beginning, Rebirth really does feel like a movie that can stand on its own. Now, I will say, the whole motivation for these scientists being on this mission to get the blood, like, first of all, it's not really made clear why they're going to get the blood until much later. And one character is there for, you guessed it, corporate greed. God, I hate these man-in-suit villains. So it feels like it's the writers really grasping at straws and making you think, oh, we gotta have a reason to make this movie. We gotta give these characters a motivation so we can make some money. And, you know, that's kind of what the first act felt like. The movie was really grasping at straws. But once it really gets into the nitty-gritty, once the characters do get stranded on this island, the movie becomes a lot of fun. But in the end, there are a bunch of characters that I have neglected to mention so far. It's the family that becomes stranded on the island with them, and they kind of become collateral damage. That's kind of what they're in this movie to be. They're kind of like we just kind of stumbled into this adventure for no reason. I mean, yeah, they were on a family vacation, and it kind of feels irresponsible of the father to take them way out into the outskirts of the ocean. But you kind of understand why these characters are needed for the balance in this story. There's the boyfriend who is there for comic relief a lot of the time. The little girl in this movie has a lot of close calls. But you're also introduced to little Dolores through this character. It's the little baby Triceratops looking thing, and this was a crowd pleaser, for sure. And I will say, those of you who are wondering, yes, all the action sequences in this movie are nail biters. I cannot tell you how many close calls that these characters experience and how Gareth Edwards directs these action sequences. Holy cow. Like, I was biting my lip and just, like, holding my breath, just making, like, the T-Rex almost got this little girl so many times. Like, you might as well have called this Jurassic World Close Call. That should have been the subtitle with how many near-death experiences these characters had. So, even though I walked into this movie with the greatest ounce of trepidation, I didn't hate Jurassic World Rebirth at all. I think despite the blatant attempts to be a cash grab and an extension of a franchise that was probably dead even 5 years ago, I think this still has potential to be a pretty big crowd pleaser. If you can see it on the biggest screen possible, I think it would be worth your while. I'm going to give Jurassic World Rebirth a B. Now that might seem extremely generous, especially considering the polarizing reviews that this movie is getting. But I will tell you, the story was not nearly as offensive as Fallen Kingdom was. It wasn't nearly as let's wrap this up as Dominion was. It's just trying to tell its own story, which I think at the end of the day should be what every movie is all about. It's not looking to set up a whole bunch of other movies. It's just looking to tell its own story and focus on itself being a good movie before anything else. And of course, entertaining you, which this movie certainly did. Let me know what you thought of Rebirth, and I know there's going to be a lot of thoughts on this movie, especially from the Jurassic hardcore fan base, casuals. I think everybody's going to have an opinion on this one. I'd love to hear it all down there in the comments. Hit that subscribe button if you're new, and tap on that thumbs up button as well, please. That would all be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much again for your continued support as the summer season. We are halfway through 2025. Holy shit. Loads of big blockbusters coming out this month, especially with Superman and the Fantastic Four First Steps. I can't wait to see both of those movies and talk to you guys about them. And I can't wait to hear what you guys think as well. Thank you all so much again for your continued support and continued love of movies. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.